Hi, Tessa.
Hi, Timarie.
How was your week?
My week was good. It was really busy.
What did you do?
I was a working class girly.
I love that.
Putting in the hours at the office, and then also slapping the bass at some gigs too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. How was your week?
Well, since you asked,
Just because you asked me first.
yesterday was the start of a new week for me in my brain, because yesterday was the first.
Okay.
Even though it wasn't on a Monday, it was on a Friday.
Right.
As we all know, had the worst month of my life in August. It was truly, it couldn't possibly be any worse than it was.
Wow.
For example, I went to the post office to drop off a package. And I was standing in line, and I'm not even making this up. There was a 60-year-old male Caucasian, loose shorts, like sweat shorts.
As there usually is at the post office.
Yeah, flip-flops. Like, he looked like a normal dude. He turns around and he just starts
Oh my gosh.
looking at me. So I ran away and I called the cops. I didn't even get to deliver my package. And then the week after that was my dad's funeral. So I'm happy to be putting that behind me now.
I'm so sorry.
Thanks. But then yesterday was September 1st, and I got a check from my old, what do you call it? My old rental apartment, and we actually got our deposit back, which I didn't think we were going to get.
Wow, that like never happens.
Yeah, so I'm taking it as a sign that this month is going to be my month.
Yeah, like who's to say if that didn't happen to you at the post office that you would have gotten the check?
Oh yeah,
You
it's
know,
kind of like the butterfly
sometimes-
effect,
Right.
right?
What does that actually mean?
It's kind of like,
Like if you were to describe the butterfly effect to someone.
it's like there's, say, a certain skipped rock in a river that's going to catapult events to happen further, where as if somebody never skipped that rock, like probably the whole future of the universe would be different than what it was. It's like small things adding up.
Wow.
It's like when you time travel, you're not allowed to like change anything because of the butterfly effect, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But I also
That's
never
awesome.
saw the movie.
What movie?
The Butterfly Effect.
Oh. Wow. I'm learning something new every day.
I'm pretty sure Ashton Kutcher is in it, but I could be wrong. I wasn't allowed to watch it. So I've actually never seen it.
I feel like we're kind of speaking on something we might not be qualified to speak on.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like
you sounded confident when you were telling me about it. I didn't know what it was.
you've actually never heard of that?
No, I've heard of it, but like something about me is that I don't actually question anything that I don't know.
Yeah, you just
I
take
just
it
go,
out.
oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel the same. Like if I want to know something, I will Google it, and like whatever Wikipedia says, like on that first part when you Google search, I take that at face value.
I do too, but then I don't actually I don't remember. Like if I looked it up and got a definition, I'd go, okay.
Yeah.
And then if someone asked me the following day what that word was, if it came up in conversation, someone else would be able to go, oh, I just learned what this was yesterday. Me?
You wouldn't remember it?
No. Reading comprehension for me is a 0.
Well, that's what your friends are for, I guess.
Yeah.
I like to read it, and then I actually take it at face value. And then if somebody asks me, I'll say, I was just researching this the other day, and this is what I found. But my research was either 30-second Google search max, or I watched a TikTok about it.
Yeah,
and
that's
I'm like,
research.
yeah, I researched this, and actually like scientists say XYZ.
Yeah. When conducting my research
Yeah.
study on TikTok,
Yes.
I found these things.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's my news source. What would you say your news source primarily is?
Right now, my main news source has been Snapchat news, like Daily Mail,
Totally.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. Sometimes Snapchat news, mostly TikTok or
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah, like memes.
Yeah, I mostly get my news from like the pages such as, Tank Sinatra adjacent Instagram pages.
Yeah.
And then my dad's like, "Are you watching the news?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I'm watching the news every day. I'm keeping up with current events.
Yeah.
I'm researching.
And like the things my dad watches on the news
But he's like QAnon.
are different. Yeah.
I don't know if I should say that on the podcast.
No, it's okay.
We love him, but he's
we do,
giving
yeah.
QAnon a little bit.
He's giving QAnon, and he thinks that I'm keeping up on that stuff as well.
Yeah.
Because I don't ask any further questions when he brings it up. I just go, yeah, like I do in life
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
And then the news I'm actually getting is like Taylor Swift and The Weeknd are the first artists to surpass 100 million something.
Yeah.
I can't even see. I don't even know the numbers.
Right. You don't have
That's
that reading
news.
retention like you were saying.
Right.
But one thing I will say about your dad is when I think of him and his views that way, I just remember when we lived together and it was like mid-COVID and we were just like hanging out, like probably making TikTok dances. And he called you and it was on speaker and he was like, Tessa, like, pack your bags. And you were like, what? And he's like, you need to be ready. And you're like, I was like, ready for what? What the is he talking about? And he's like, just be ready. And when it's time, come out to the property.
Your phones aren't going to work anymore. You're not going to be able to call us.
And I was freaked out because I totally
it's happening on Easter Sunday. Or something like that.
Yeah.
And we were like,
and we never got exactly what was going to happen. Like he didn't describe it, but it was just like basically be ready.
Yeah. And I think that we took heed of that. I think generally we were a little bit ready to go.
Yeah. Where?
Where? I'm not sure. His house. I mean.
Yeah, I would have came out to his house probably too. But anyways, I'm Timarie.
I'm Tessa. And this is
Theo. This is our podcast. He's our mascot, even though you would think it would be a fish. That's actually
we couldn't
not the
afford.
case.
Yeah, that wasn't really in the budget.
Yeah, but the $1,400 dog was in the budget.
Right. We don't have to discuss how much Theo cost.
Oh no, $1,400.
Because he's priceless.
Yeah.
He's been a priceless addition to our family. And by our family, I don't mean me and Timarie, but I mean me and my...
Yeah. Although I do consider him my nephew. But that's besides the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we started a podcast because basically we had probably 55 people in a row, like back to back, say, you two are the funniest people I've ever met. If you don't start a podcast, I will jump out of a moving plane.
Right.
So...
Can I have your signature?
Etc.
Yeah.
And so we thought, like, for the good of humanity and like what people deserve is for us to do this public service and record a podcast for our fans that really need us.
Are you in?
Are you out? We need to know right now.
Yeah, so I would say like the goal in starting a new podcast, we don't want to be like overly ambitious or anything, but I think just like a reasonable goal is to have like we just want like 100K subscribers in like the first 2 episodes.
No, I told
one.
Yeah. I told Jacob that, and I told Drew, which these are our husbands. Not that we share them as Jacob's my husband. Drew is Tessa's husband.
Yeah, and those are separate things.
And those are separate entities, but we do hang out and have fun. Not in a weird way. Don't get it twisted.
Right.
Anyways, I was telling Jacob today that this is the first day of the rest of our lives. And I fully am convinced that, and I'm manifesting this, like I want to look back on this in 365 days. I'm manifesting that this becomes our career. To which Drew replied, do you know how many people actually have podcasting as the only like line of work that they do? I'm pretty sure it's just Joe Rogan.
Yeah, he said 3 people, and then the only person he could name was Joe Rogan.
Yeah, but we took a poll, and we actually think we'll be more successful than Joe Rogan, and you can mark my words.
Totally, mark our words, Drew.
Yeah. So that one's for him, but fully I'm manifesting that this becomes our career, and I don't see why that wouldn't be the case, like at this point. And the naysayers, like they might say things like that's impossible, but it's like you think of the man who landed on the moon, like everyone told him it was impossible, and look what he did. He's on the moon laughing at you.
Yeah. And he's still up there probably.
Yeah, I don't think he ever got down. That's something I would need to research.
On TikTok.
On TikTok.
Or Snapchat news.
Yeah, if it's not on Snapchat news, I will be unaware.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go searching for it, but if it comes up on one of those news sources, that's where I'm going to get it. Exactly. But I'm not going to actually research. It's going to come,
Well, that is
my
research.
Is coming to me. I'm not going to put any effort into that, and I stand by that.
Right. And I support that, and I've always said that. Tessa, I thought it'd be really fun if we could take our subscribers through the experience of how you and I came to be friends.
Wow.
Sorry, best friends forever.
Right. Sorry, I think Theo wanted to have a snore on the pod.
Yeah. And it's his right.
And that is his right.
Right.
Well, it all started on a winter evening at our local Red Robin.
Right.
Red Robin is this cool
kind of like hole in the
local hole in the wall restaurant. It's kind of
tucked away,
avant-garde pub adjacent food.
Right.
That
everyone there knows us by name.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like that small town vibe.
Yeah, but like good luck getting seated because it's so popular too.
Yeah, you kind of have to have an in.
Yeah, you kind of have to like know someone on the list.
Yeah, which we do.
So somehow Timarie had gotten on that list with a group of people. And I don't actually remember how I ended up there. I think we had a mutual friend who was there and said, Tessa, come here. And I said, you guys got into this hole in the wall amazing restaurant. I'm there.
Bar-esque.
Yeah. So I showed up. The funny preface to this, actually, before Red Robin actually came to be, you were trying to move out of your apartment.
Oh, yeah. This is crazy. I was trying to move out because my rent was literally $500, and this was in 2018. And I was like, this is too expensive. Like $500 for everything.
Insane.
Yeah. Now
it was a studio
for that
apartment, but still $500 a month.
But at the time I was like making, I think $9.25 an hour or something. So to me, I was like, I don't think I can pay my bills. Like I'm gonna have to move out. And word was spreading through town because we had, well, before you lived there, it was the place to be. Everyone knew, which probably isn't a good thing to have everybody know exactly where you live.
Totally.
But this little apartment, there was only 2 of them, and it was like above a restaurant in downtown Coeur d'Alene. Mm-hmm. And I had spread the word, hey, if anyone wants to take over my lease, like whatever. At the time, my boyfriend, who's now my husband, his ex-girlfriend was like, I'll take it. And I was like, yeah, over my dead body. I have no beef with her, but just the thought of my current boyfriend's ex, I was just like, yeah, not gonna happen.
Right.
So and actually, this is actually so bad because this is where I swooped in. This is how this happened.
Yeah, somehow I didn't really know the ex, but it must have been our other mutual friend who was like, let's call her Betsy. Yeah. The ex. It's not her name. Betsy is looking for a roommate because apparently $500 was too much for anyone.
Yeah, like if we couldn't afford this.
I can't go back to then. I don't know what to do with this. But she was looking for a roommate, and I said, okay. So she was actually at Red Robin. I think the point of that was for me and her to meet to like...
Why was I hanging out with my boyfriend's ex-girlfriend?
But there was like a group of people. I think it's funny that we're like, let's tell this story, and then we don't actually really know what happened.
All of our memory is shattered. Like, please take everything with a grain of salt.
Totally. But I do remember meeting her and being like, okay. And then I met you.
Oh my gosh. Actually, it's all coming to me now. Can I? Yeah, I remember.
Take over.
So I overheard Betsy, the ex, and I overheard her saying like to Tessa, who I had just met, like literally, like I think you ended up just sitting with us because we were like, hey, you guys can sit with us. Like we're not mean. Like so hard to get a table here. We might as well open up. like be giving.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
And so we're like, yeah, sit with us. I actually overheard you guys talking about the idea of moving into my apartment together, and I think some sort of fire lit in my belly where I was like, nobody's living in my apartment without me.
Right.
And this actually, I feel like I hope you can't hear my nose whistle. It's so strong right now.
I hope that you can.
I always have like a slight nose whistle. I should probably get that checked out. Anyways, I was like, hell no. I'm not moving out. This is my territory. I don't know why.
It's really funny that you were just like desperately trying to get someone else to take over.
Yeah, and then somebody took it from me in a way, and I thought like this isn't gonna happen. And I didn't, I guess, like conceive the idea of having a roommate because it was a studio apartment. It was very small.
Totally, yeah.
So I think Betsy left the restaurant, and I said, "Oh, like Tessa, you seem pretty cool." I'm pretty sure I started playing with your hair.
Yeah, you were like, it's so soft.
It's so weird because we're not physical touch people at all. Don't know where I had that authority to just grab your hair, just yaga it. But started playing with your hair. I was like, what about like us? Like, what if we moved in together and then I don't have to move out? And you were like, okay. Like, we literally just met. You're like, okay, yeah, can I come over and like see it? I was like, okay, sure. Oh yeah. And then this gets crazy. So that was the first time we met.
So like within 10 minutes
you verbally confirmed that you would move into my studio apartment
and
like,
just swoop it from Betsy too,
we just totally pushed it.
And I was like talking to her about living with her. I didn't know her either.
Well, and Betsy, if you ever hear this, I'm sorry, I really did just swoop in and that wasn't fair.
But Betsy, if you are listening, like, just know that this would never have been
it's the butterfly effect.
It's the butterfly effect.
You had moved in with her, who knows, maybe you guys would be best friends.
And this podcast wouldn't be like helping you through the hard time that you're probably going through and like needing this podcast as your rock. Right. So it's the butterfly
Everything
effect.
is meant to be.
True.
So this is actually where things get, not to keep talking about your father, but this was heartbreaking. So actually, I had told Tessa, hey, like, let's meet for coffee. This was when like meeting for coffee was like, if you didn't do that, like, you were not it.
Scum of the earth.
Yeah. It was disgusting. Like this was like hipster 2017, 2018. Like I was fully drinking espressos, pretending like that was my personality. I hated them. It tastes disgusting.
Right.
But I would go order that because I wanted to be cool. And so I texted Tessa like, yeah, meet me at this coffee shop and then we can walk to the apartment and I'll show you it. And she was like, okay. I was like 20 minutes late. Like I slept in.
Yeah, I remember getting there at like
just sitting there.
You scheduled it really early.
Yeah, it was like 7 or 8 a.m. Why?
I want to say it was like 8 a.m. I got there a little bit early because of the person that I am. And then I sat inside and I think I waited till like 8:20. And then you're like, OMG, like you texted me, I'm running late. I'll be there soon. And I was like, really good first impression.
Yeah. Really setting the tone for exactly the rest of our future.
Yeah.
So I sprint to the coffee shop. It's like 2 blocks from my house. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry. Like, don't let this be a representative of like how I am, even though that fully is how I am. Like, I should have been honest with you. Right. Sorry for that.
That's okay.
We walk over, she looks at it and she's like, okay, yeah, let's do this. I think he moved in like the next day. Like, it was very soon.
Yeah. And
I'm like standing there, you and your dad come in because I just had a twin bed. Tessa was able to provide the trundle bed, and which is where we would sleep for the next, I think, 2.5 years. So Tessa's bed like pulled out like a drawer, and so every night
like we were 8 again. Yeah.
And now thinking about the fact that we did that, I don't think I could do that at this point.
I don't know. Yeah.
But your dad helped you set everything up, and I got to meet your dad for the first time, and that was like feeling so involved and like chatting it up with him. And then you finished moving the bed and that was pretty much it. And then like your clothes.
Yeah.
And then it was the morning and your dad's like, okay, Tessa, like, you want to go grab breakfast? And I was just kind of sitting on the bed, like my feet were dangling there. And I was like,
hoping to be invited.
Oh my gosh, I'm so hungry, you guys. What? Breakfast is my favorite meal. And Chris is like, all right, nice to meet you. And you guys walked out. And
yeah. Looking back, that's like my biggest regret in life, actually.
Yeah.
Knowing how much Timarie thrives around other people's parents.
Yeah.
But let me just say that like any other person that I met a couple days prior and then would have asked, do you want to go get breakfast with me and my dad? Like the friend would have been like, I'm not hungry. Not because of my dad, but just because like just you and a parent. We just met and you just met my dad.
I wanted to go so bad.
I didn't even want to invite you because I felt like you
thought that was the right thing to do.
Totally.
You didn't want to put that pressure on me.
After knowing you for a couple days after that, I'm like, that actually would have been your perfect scenario.
Right.
And she got pretty close with my dad.
Yeah. Now we're like,
and then he came over not that much later to set up a table.
Oh yeah. Because we had no space. Like this was had to like.
Go ahead.
It was like 15 square feet total, I think.
Yeah, it was like we're thriving in this little nook here because it feels so much bigger than our entire apartment.
Yeah.
But we installed a table that like was one of those IKEA ones that folded up. So we
needed fit an actual table.
We needed help, not because we are worthless women, but because
or inferior.
The walls are like plaster and you can't screw into them.
Right.
So I said, Dad, please come over. And we had this reader sign that is out of the shot right now, but just like
like one of those
letterboards, that light up. What Timarie had done is she had taken the letters. She knew my dad was coming over, and she changed it to say Tessa is HIV positive, and set it up. And then my dad
like
walked
right
in,
where her
and
dad
she
would
turned
see
it on. It was like a light up one. And so he just came in and saw that.
I don't think he said anything about it.
No, but he saw it and then was just like,
oh yeah, it was like a glowing like beacon of light.
Yeah.
And the apartment's so small you can't see anything.
It. And so then I think I don't know what I did. We just installed the table and he was like, all right.
He was like, okay, like bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you were pretty proud of that one.
Yeah, no, that was so fun. I was thriving off of every time your dad came over to our apartment.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically how we met. And then that's why this leads me to my theory of I fully am convinced that Tessa actually doesn't like me. Like we've been best friends since 2017, 2018. And I still do think a little bit that she might not be interested in being my friend because Tessa's so nice and kind, always putting others before herself. And I'm thinking this whole time, like, did you just move in with me because I asked you out of obligation?
Right. Yeah. And no matter how many times I express that that's not the case and that she's actually my bestie and my sister Sue, she just thinks that I am still just like hanging out with her out of pity or something.
Yeah.
But the apartment that we shared was so small. We slept like our beds after I pulled mine out and propped it up to the same level as hers. There was maybe a couple inches in like between 6
inches.
She could still play with my hair.
Yeah, I could reach
and
out
I would
and touch
try to
Tessa.
go to bed. And then Timarie would be like, hey, Tessa. And I'd be like, what? And she'd be like, do you want to go to Ireland? Or I don't know. She'd ask me like a million questions.
Yeah. I was like,
as a joke.
For context, like at sleepovers as a kid, actually first tell me like what personality were you at a sleepover? Like, did you fall asleep first?
I probably fell asleep first, but I also would like throw up and stuff. Like I remember being at
like, cause you were nervous?
Who knows? I threw up so much as a kid. I don't even know. I don't know if it was like tummy issues or stress. Like both of those things are things that I probably had. But I remember going over to my friend Rayla's house in like 3rd or 4th grade, and there were like 4 people staying over, and I got up quietly in the middle of the night to go vom in her bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
I came out and she was standing there because she heard me, and she's like, are you okay?
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, yeah, la la la. I was the kid who would like call my mom to come pick me up.
Yeah. Okay,
but
so
I was genuinely
Jacob
vomiting.
Are in the same breed.
Right. And that's probably an early anxiety thing looking back.
Oh yeah, because you two are probably the most anxious people I know.
Totally.
But you guys are improving and, you know, just being your best selves. Yeah.
Thanks.
You know, I'm like anxious, but in so many different ways. Like not the same at all to you or Jacob. Like mine is like, I have like, and I don't know where this stems from, and I plan to ask my therapist about it.
Right.
I constantly have the fear that I'm being recorded.
You do have that fear.
For no reason.
Yeah.
Like this has never happened to me, but I'm like, somehow if I say this thing that I don't want anyone to know I said, it's recorded and someone's going to use it to blackmail me.
The thing about Timarie is she will record, or no, she doesn't really talk smack about other people.
I try not to because I think somebody's recording
No, I know.
me.
But like you won't, but you'll like, if you bring someone up in conversation as like regular people do,
I like look around.
You'll be like, is my phone like accidentally, like you're paranoid that something's recording you, and you're not even like slandering someone. You just like mention their name.
I'm just like ripping them to shreds.
Like, yeah. You just like always think you're being recorded, which I think is really funny.
Don't know where it stems from. And like Jacob and I have had multiple conversations about this because he's like, did something happen to you when you were young? I'm like,
right.
No, not that I know of, but like I'm just waiting for it. But that's mainly the main source of my anxiety. But
that's a pretty specific.
Yeah, it's so weirdly specific. Yeah. But I will say, on the sleepover thing, I was the person that was not sleeping. I was the last to fall asleep and the first to wake up.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure.
Yeah, and so like if you know you're all like sleeping in sleeping bags on the floor, and also I would do anything to have sleepovers all the time. Like I didn't get anxious. This probably stems to much deeper issues, parental issues that I've had as a child, of just never wanting to be in my own home. Love my parents, but I was just like, get me out of here. Also, I have 2 older brothers and they were my bullies.
Right.
Anyways, I'd be the one like on the floor like, hey, like, who do you guys like?
Still awake?
Are you guys awake? Like, oh my gosh, should we like make a song
right now?
Truth
or Dare?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were,
And that never faded because then when we lived together, that was your life. And then, you know, which this part of me has died. I don't wake up early anymore. But when I lived with Tessa, I would always wake up early. And I would beg her, like, oh, like, get up at 5 with me. Like, let's go for a run or do something crazy. And Tessa was like, literally, I will never do that with you.
That's not something that I'm going to participate in ever.
And she told me that she had chronic fatigue. And I still don't know if that's like a real diagnosis. But she said that. And I would tell everyone, like, Tessa has chronic fatigue. Like, she sleeps so hard. And I'll wake up in the morning and I'll make a smoothie, like a green smoothie, which there's no door from the kitchen. Like, it's all one room in the studio.
Yeah, it's like not that much farther in between me and you as it was from our bed to the open kitchen.
Probably
like
about
blender.
Maybe 9 feet away.
And what I loved about you was your confidence to just get up and start the noisiest blender ever at 5 a.m. when I was sleeping.
Well, because you told me,
tell people, she would like go around and be like, Tessa sleeps like a bear. She is out. And
not a twitch in her eye when I start the blender every morning.
You did like preface and you're like, I'm so like, do you wake up when I use the blender?
And you
like,
said no.
And I'm just nice. And so I was like, no.
Because that's what I'm talking about.
Well, the thing, it didn't disturb me that much. Like, I would wake up and be like, wow, she's using the blender. But then I'd go right back to sleep. It wasn't like I couldn't go back to sleep. So I just was like, make your smoothie queen. Like, you do you. I'm all about getting those greens in.
That's so nice of you because I would
but
never
then I didn't
reciprocate.
Right. I didn't expect you to then go tell people that I just like am knocked out. Like
hibernation mode.
Right. Like just snoring, drooling kind of.
Yeah, no, but in a graceful, like peaceful, sleeping beauty kind of way. Well, also too, I remember like because when your trundle bed was out, it would be fully like almost flush to our small couch.
Yeah.
And sometimes like I would just sit there and I would eat a bowl of cereal and just watch you sleep. And I would be quiet so it wouldn't go on my phone.
I would hear like the clinking of the spoon to the bowl, like scraping the bottom and like a.
And I'm just fully watching you sleep.
And she's just like so close to me.
Yeah, like probably about 3 feet just for
And
reference.
That's the cool thing about how we did the roommate situation. I hadn't had a roommate before.
No,
that
me
was
neither.
like I moved out of my parents' house and went there.
Yeah.
And you hadn't had a roommate.
Other than when I lived with my great aunt Rexy.
Right.
We kind of were like roommates.
A different vibe. And we grew up with brothers, so we weren't like sharing a room with like our sister. Like we didn't have sisters or anything. So this was new to us. And it's like, talk about hard launching into roommates when you don't have any room to do anything but be around each other and like sleep next to each other. That
you get really close.
That bonded like it took 24 hours.
Yeah.
To be besties. I feel like.
Well, because you had no other choice.
I didn't have a choice. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I still don't.
Yeah, you still don't. And I'm never going to leave you alone probably. So that's like something you can know in your heart and not have to worry about.
Right.
But yeah, it was a good time. So that's basically how we met and became besties, is because Tessa couldn't escape me. And every night I would keep her up until 1 a.m. asking her philosophical questions.
Right. And now, yeah. I'm still just hanging out with you from pity, like 5 years later when we don't live together.
Exactly.
Oh, oops.
But yeah, that's basically it. And fun fact too is anyone who knows me and Tessa knows that 7 days after Tessa moved in with me, I convinced her to buy tickets to go to Ireland, and we booked a trip, like having known each other for maybe 10 days total, I think at that point.
Yeah.
And for some reason Tessa just like had never spent any money that she'd ever acquired. She was like, yeah, I could do that. And I've been saving up for this at this point for like 2 years. And I'm like, like specifically.
And I was like, swipe. I have so much money.
Tessa's like, I've never spent a dime of my own money. So we blew it all. We went to Ireland. We had so much fun. And yeah, we went all around. We stayed at some really interesting places and met some very interesting people. Ed Sheeran,
places and things,
was also maybe one of the people that we met. Yeah. But we had to sign what's it called?
An NDA.
So that's all I can say.
Yeah, I guess all we can say about it is Galway Girl is about me and Timarie.
Yeah, all we can say about it is if you listen to Galway Girls, or as the natives call it, Galway Girls, if you listen closely, you might draw some conclusions about what he's talking about and maybe some similarities.
And it's about two girls who we can't say. Who rhyme with memory and Messa.
But that's all we can really say about that.
That's all we can say because the NDA.
Yeah.
And the NBA.
We aren't allowed to talk about that.
Yeah.
we're not qualified as
WNBA. We can
talk about WNBA, but because we care about herstory, not history. And that's what we've always said. Yes. I love that. I wanted to bring up some pop culture events that some pulp culture that we've learned about recently.
Totally. Like no pulp or like most pulp.
I'm some pulp kind of girl. What about
my dad would always get most extra pulp.
That is like, a different breed.
You have to search for that in the cooler. Like the orange juice was just chunky.
That it was a like too far, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was like when you see Jif like chunky, and then you see like super chunk,
extra chunk.
Yeah, it's like one and the same. And we would always have that peanut butter and that. I just like everything we ate was so chunky. Anyway,
so I feel like that kind of shaped your life to be able to handle all sorts of textures.
Totally.
So do you still get pulp or crunchy?
I get some pulp, but I'm not gonna search out super most extra pulpy chunky orange juice.
That feels like at that point like you might as well just make a smoothie.
Just make a smoothie, yeah. Or like get a drinkable yogurt or something that's thick.
Yeah, a kefir perhaps.
Yeah, totally.
Support your
microbiome. Pulp culture.
Yeah, for pulp culture, this morning I was informed by my waiter at the diner where I was eating breakfast with my husband that Jimmy Buffett has gone to Margaritaville for good. And may God rest his soul. And I hope it's always 5:00 somewhere for him.
Amen.
So
that just breaks my little heart, but also makes me think that he's just
sitting on some beach somewhere
in Margaritaville. It sounds wrong to say. Aren't the lyrics wasting away again?
Yeah, but he's thriving away.
Yeah.
In Margaritaville, and I would expect nothing less for him.
Yeah.
And I know someday I'm gonna meet him in Margaritaville, and we're gonna cheers. We're gonna have salt on the rim tray.
The impact that Jimmy Buffett has had on my life. I'm sorry.
You don't have to talk about it.
Just give me a second. It's too much to talk about.
We can move on to the next. Drew also pointed. Oh, sorry.
No, I can't. You go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Drew also brought something to my attention that that also kind of shook herstory this year.
Jimmy Buffett shake herstory?
No, not Jimmy Buffett. That's history. But he said that the Queen died. But I know this happened like a couple months ago.
Right.
But speaking of the Queen, she was an old grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I brought my grandma today.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Because I don't know when that's not going to throw me off that you just have her with you.
My grandma's always with me in my heart, but also in my purse, in my bagoo.
You should do it. What's in my bag? What's in my bagoo? And
oh
then
my gosh.
It's just like your grandma and like
when we
pulp or something.
Do the blog that we talked about adding on to the podcast as part of our franchise.
Totally.
We could definitely do a what's in my bag segment, but I wanted to bring my grandma as a good luck charm and a support. So if I get nervous or I start getting a little sweaty, I can just look and know that she's right here with me.
I just want to point out that I feel like anyone who would do this would be like, well, my grandma died 8 years ago, so now I can joke about it and bring her around. Fresh. Like, this is fresh. And I'd love that you cope like this. How fresh are, this was a 2 months ago?
From the point of passing to cremation, I don't know how long.
Just when did she pass? I don't really need to know.
I actually don't know what day she passed away. There's been a lot of death in my family this year. It's hard to keep track.
I'm so sorry. It was July or something.
I think June
or July.
Yeah,
it's
mid-June.
Fresh, so we're not talking.
It was definitely mid-June.
Yeah, okay.
I think maybe June 17th. Don't quote me on that.
No need to.
And then I went to my mom's house and we were hanging out and she said, I have something for you. And it rhymes with Mama. It's your grandma. Here you go. It rhymes
with Mama's mashes.
Yeah. It rhymes with Mama's mashes and they're for you. And she told me, my grandma just said before she died, because we were anticipating this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
She said, you better not make me into a resin art. Have you seen that?
No.
Because there
Is
was
that a thing people are doing?
Yeah. There's a girl on
The
TikTok.
resin needs to stop. We need to stop with the resin.
Resin just needs to stop, period.
Yeah.
But especially resin mixed with human remains. And my grandma was like, don't make me into an art piece.
How'd your grandma know about resin if she wasn't on TikTok?
I don't know. She's pretty smart.
Yeah.
And pretty ahead of the times. Like, I feel like my grandma definitely changed history.
Totally.
But don't know how I think it's because one of my family members, after her husband died, I think she made him into a golf club. You'd have to fact check that. And my grandma was like,
I want to.
Don't even think about it. And I was like, Grandma, I would never do that. Maybe a necklace, and she was like, no. So I asked my mom where she got the urn. You can actually find this on Amazon. It won't have my grandma's ashes in it, obviously.
Wow.
But she said she got like a 4-pack.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
So if anyone else needs one. Also, I want to say that people also use their breast milk to like, have you seen that? Where they make like a necklace or something and it looks like a white stone because they like send in their breast milk.
I've never seen
And she like calcifies it or something.
But I would totally do that.
Totally.
And not tell someone what it is and give it to them. And then when they wear it, it's like such a power move.
Yeah, that is a power move. Do you think that Grandma Cookie, if she were alive, would be on this couch with us at any point for the pod?
Honestly, no. I'd like to say yes, but my grandma hated being recorded, or like maybe that's where my
oh my gosh
paranoia comes from. She hated getting her photo taken.
We're unpacking right now.
We're healing. We're working through it.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I want to say too that I sometimes forget how some people will receive the way that I talk about my deceased relatives at this point. Like I said, many dead people in my family from this year alone. But this is just how my family rolls. We joke and we ride on, and we carry grandma around in our purse.
Not to keep bringing up my dad, but it's just the stories keep coming up.
Yeah, I love it.
A couple weeks after Grandma Cookie passed, God rest her soul.
Amen.
My dad was at one of our gigs, and he said, "I'm sorry about." I think he said, "I'm sorry about your Grammy."
Yeah, which is big for him. Like he's not a mushy
like
guy.
This weird, like she was like right where my palm was, and he's like, sorry about your Grammy.
Yeah, he was reaching.
He was just reaching,
but
it was
like sweet.
It was sweet, and like probably the most emotional he will get. You know, you're like, wow, that means a lot. And Timarie didn't. I watched this unfold. She didn't really know how to respond to that, and she said, "It's okay." She said, "It's okay. She deserved to die." I'm just kidding. And my dad was like, "Okay."
Your dad was ROF-Ling.
Yeah,
he thought it was fun. I knew Chris would get it.
Totally.
Like,
it's just me. But you do have to just like roll with how Timarie deals with grief, and I'm glad that we're getting this out on the first episode, because it's not going to be the last time that we talk about dead family members and how we cope with that.
Especially at the rate the way my family's going, dropping like flies. I could be next. So
right, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
but also I'm sorry for your losses.
We're manifesting that it doesn't happen, and thank you. I appreciate that. It's been good. Other than all of those instances,
right?
We still have fun. We still have parties and gatherings. Actually, I'm gonna be going to the coast to spread some of grandma.
Oh.
Not some of mine. I don't have that much of grandma. Like I have to use it sparingly.
Use it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Are you planning on?
If I ever decide to spread any of grandma, then definitely I need to make it last. But it's a weird thing, like having ashes. Like, well, first of all, because it's just human remains.
Right. You could stop right there with that sentence. Yeah. I would like you to continue.
But also, I'm like, what do I do with these? Like, other than having them as my party trick
in my bagu.
Other than carrying that, Baggy should sponsor me, to be honest, of the things that I can fit in my bag.
Do you want to take a quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode? Bagu.
Yeah, thank you, Bagu. Without you, my grandma wouldn't be on my hip every day of the week.
Totally. In a sling bag form, over the shoulder.
Nylon.
What can't you fit in your Bagu? And just keep it like away from the elements and everything. I just want to like thank you guys for reaching out and making this possible and making the sign for us. Like fronting that money. Equipment. Yeah. So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah. And I also want to say the amount of things I'm able to fit into my Bagu, it's uncanny.
Totally.
It's like
you could put Theo in there too.
You could fit Theo in the bag.
Grandma.
And grandma. There's room for everybody inside my Bagu.
Inside my Bagu.
Yeah.
So anyway, you were saying it's weird to carry ashes around.
Yeah. Well, I actually don't carry them around with me all the time, but I do just put them on my windowsill. I don't really know what else to do, but it is like a weird concept.
Yeah.
I don't really understand it, but I'm not going to throw them away.
No.
That would be wrong.
No.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. They did spread some of grandma secretly into I shouldn't actually say this. I don't think this should be I'm going to change the subject. I'll tell you after.
Tell me after,
but that is private information.
Okay.
They did sprinkle her in a place where they probably shouldn't have. Like, it was kind of her landmark area.
You don't.
Anyways.
Yeah.
That's all you have to know about that. Probably too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to bring it back to, you brought up how Taylor Swift and The Weeknd are the only two artists, what was it, to reach the most streams.
It was like 100 million monthly Spotify listeners.
Right.
And for me reading that, I just thought, how out of touch am I? Because have me name more than one song by The Weeknd, I can't do it.
Oh, me neither.
Can't Feel My Face is the only one that I
can't feel my face when I'm with you. But I love it.
Yeah. Can you think of another song?
There's that one song that we did record many TikTok dances to.
Blinding Lights or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's one. Excuse you, Theo. He's snorting over here.
Okay. Sorry.
I Can't Feel My Face when I'm with you, but I love it. That's one.
So yeah,
Blinding
we got
Lights,
that one.
That's another one.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's one where he's like, his face looks scary in the video, and I think Justin Bieber is in it. No. He also has one with Post Malone. But do I know the names of these songs? No. Taylor Swift. I can name, I think, every single song.
I want to say the line between Swiftie and not Swiftie is the middle of this couch.
And
I want to set that up right now.
Whose side are you on?
I want the listeners to guess. I want you guys to take a second, pause the video if you need to.
Zoom in.
Just think about it.
Look into our eyes.
Dun, 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 dun,
Look into our hearts. Who here is a Swiftie?
Dun, dun, dun. Time's up.
It's me.
It's Timarie.
Yeah.
It's not me. Couldn't be me.
It could be me. And it actually explains why I don't have any money in my bank account, because
yeah, how much did you spend?
I just spent $550, which actually is such a steal. But by the end of this, it won't be, because I'm going to Amsterdam.
Yeah, there's the kicker.
I will be spending probably $1,000 on a plane ticket, probably more than $1,000 on a place to stay.
Right.
To see Taylor front and center.
That's what I thought.
I think he is. He just is scared to like be
I
himself.
love that you got like such a deal on a ticket, but then I love when you tell people, like, hearing this. I knew this first because I'm bestie. Right. But then, like, I hear you at a barbecue being like, I got a ticket to Taylor Swift. And everyone's like, oh, my gosh, congratulations.
And I'm like,
you're
it was
like,
so cheap.
It was only $550. And they're like, that's amazing. Like, where and when? They're thinking it's, like, next month, like, in California or something. Mm-hmm. And you're like, it's a full calendar year from now. And it's in another country. It's in Amsterdam.
And fully at peak traveling season. So where everything is the most expensive.
And I had to, you're going to have to, like, planning on going now for like 2 weeks to make it worth it.
Yeah, this will now be go like a $5,000
right
adventure.
So like a good deal for absolutely
for the ticket. Yes, I have floor seats, and also
that actually is gonna be
it was a VIP package, so I'm getting some Taylor Swift stickers, a tote bag, limited edition poster, and maybe like a tumbler or something.
That's $400 in value right there.
Yeah, I would have spent $1,000 on those things alone.
Right.
And I've never seen her in concert, and I've been obsessed since the day she
was birthed from her mother's birth canal.
She was pushed out of the birth canal. I think I just knew.
It was natural or C-section?
I'm gonna say natural. She's giving that kind of vibe, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I think it was of something else, because I fully am on the conspiracy that Taylor Swift is not a human. Mm-hmm. The way that she's working it for her fans day in and day out, and never complaining. Yeah. She never looks tired.
Something's up.
She does this for 4 hours. She doesn't have to do it. She could have retired a long time ago, but she's out here fully working it.
Doing the Lord's work, yeah.
Yes, and I just don't think a human could physically produce music in the speed that she produces, put on a show the way that she does. Also, I want to mention Paramore is going to be opening for Taylor.
That's going to be really fun.
Which is just like the icing on the cake for me. I was obsessed with Paramore. Still am a little. I mean, I don't listen to her a lot, but in high school, like, I had the Misery Business like CD, and I didn't have an aux, so I just played that all the time. Yeah, so it's gonna be good.
That's gonna be fun. But like, I don't get how The Weeknd is up there with her in this, you know?
Well, I will say, like, though, based on like who we are as humans and the type of music we listen to, while we have very different tastes, we aren't
going to be
listening to rap. We aren't listening to, well, I guess he doesn't do rap, but he's kind of in that category of like I would put him up there. If you like The Weeknd, you probably like Drake and like these very like popular.
We don't want to bring Drake up on this podcast.
Oh, is he
just like knowing what he can do on podcasts with Bobby?
Yeah, no, he's definitely going to be on the podcast at some point.
Well, yeah, and so I don't want to like
spoil too much without him being here to like save his name,
right? And it's like already on the books for us that he's coming, and so I don't want to like ruin that.
Okay, yeah, we don't have to talk about him, but I feel like that very like mainstream pop and like hip hop and rap, like I'm fully on, as we know, Taylor Swift, Phoebe Bridgers, very sad girly music. That's pretty much what I listen to. So like The Weeknd, even like new JB stuff. Right. I don't know what's going on in that department. Also, I listen to the same 3 albums over and over and over again.
Yeah, I love that about you.
How would you describe your musical taste?
That's a good question.
Jazzy?
Yeah, probably jazzy bluesy.
Jazz, blues.
Just kidding.
I feel like it has hints of jazz.
I do listen to some oldies because of, I don't know, some of that music is stuff I like, 70s kind of stuff. Also, Drew is pretty much strictly a Steely Dan man.
Right. And
just 70s stuff in general. So I do like that. I like some sad girl stuff.
Yeah.
And some just like
who?
Some of Madison.
Name 10 albums.
Okay. Madison Cunningham is my current girly obsession. She's good.
Right.
I guess just kind of like, I don't know if indie rock is really I never know what genre to encompass that.
It's so unique, you don't even have a genre. But it's not mainstream. It's just
like so much like not what everyone else is listening to.
No, but
like,
it really isn't.
Not even a word for it.
There isn't.
Yeah, thanks.
I do feel like we are lacking of being in the know of like current music.
Oh like, yeah, like we're not really good to talk about pop culture in general, but I love that we're gonna talk about it every week.
Yeah, and not in like a pick me girl kind of way though, just strictly like because like, I'm only listening to Phoebe Bridgers and Taylor Swift.
Yeah, and I'm just uninformed in general. Yeah. So I love that we can learn together. If you guys are uninformed, this is a safe space, and if you are informed, I'd encourage you to not comment on how uninformed we are.
Turn the car around and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Also, I want to say, speaking of Justice Bieber, JB.
Yeah.
As I like to call him. First of all, not to keep bringing up your dad, but he's full Justin Bieber.
Yeah,
and
I think we have an NDA about that actually.
Oh, he didn't.
So we might have to get that.
Yeah, he actually didn't ever meet him.
My dad has met him. We can say that.
Oh yeah, he's met him.
Yeah,
and they're actually friends. Justin and Hailey Bieber actually have a place in the town that we live in.
Oh yeah,
which is really rude of them. And what I wanted to bring up though is that I'm constantly seeing all these headlines about Justin and Hailey divorcing, Justin and Hailey having a baby. Justin admits his love for Selena, and I don't know what is true or false surrounding them.
just want to again reiterate your news sources Snapchat news. So maybe and I'm not saying that's not accurate. I'm just saying like
no, it will
maybe
be two
we go
articles
to the source
on Snapchat next to each other that say completely different things.
Yeah, totally. I love that.
So what do you think? Like, are they gonna stay together? Are they gonna break up?
I think they're gonna stay together, and that's someone who doesn't follow them whatsoever. But just like I think the world might crumble if they don't. Like if they don't make it like what is true love.
Do you think it's a PR relationship?
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder.
I think JB is a genuine person.
Really?
Yeah.
And you would go to your grave saying that statement?
No. But like for right now, like
for now it works.
It's a pretty neutral assumption. Like I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt.
As you should. When TikTok was like still like a new thing, it was like right around COVID time for us.
Yeah.
I had made a TikTok about Hailey Bieber, and I was just being really annoying, and I was like, Hailey Bieber, if you see this, like you're dead to me. Yeah. And you know what else? You may have stolen my man, but like I had him first. Yeah. Talking about Justin. Obviously that's a joke.
Totally.
It started like blowing up like wildfire, and I was getting hundreds of views by the second, and people were commenting, I hate her, how dare she, what did she do to you, OMG, like they fully just took it at face value,
which I love that for you.
Yeah, like,
That's a huge compliment if people are like,
yeah,
this actually is Justin Bieber's ex.
Yeah, and people were like, what? This is crazy. Like, the comments were just floating in. And I panicked and I deleted it because I got scared that they would sue me. Once again, the paranoia of a recording of me going viral. You would think you've
had like a legal, like a, I don't know, just like a background like in and out of the courts, like being sued multiple times with how much you're paranoid
of authority and being sued, like, it kind of rules my life.
You kind of always think you're gonna be like the cops are gonna show up at your door and like arrest you for slander.
Oh my gosh, you know what it probably comes from?
What?
When we lived at the apartment, we didn't have parking. Like, we just had to park on the street, and it was like nighttime. I parked in front of like a construction zone, and I thought like, oh, they're not gonna be working on it. It's a Saturday. Like, I'll probably be okay. And at 5 a.m. the police called me and were like, is this Timarie? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, you need to move your car right now or you're gonna get towed. And I was like,
do remember that.
I was so scared. Like, and now every time my phone rings, I think I'm getting arrested.
Yeah.
I haven't been yet.
Right, but like yet.
But it could happen.
Totally.
And I'm prepared. Do you remember at my bachelorette party when we all messaged Hailey Bieber?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, so it was like me, like 10 girls.
Yeah.
And we rented a lake house. It was super fun. And for some reason, I think we were getting coffee or lunch or something, and we all were kind of talking about Hailey Bieber, like, as you do.
Totally.
And someone brought up, like, I think she has a tattoo of Coeur d'Alene, which is where we lived.
Me. Yeah.
And
I was informed.
Yeah, Tessa brought it up, and we were all like, that freaking conniving little son of a mother.
Yeah.
And we all thought, like, how dare she kind of like come into our territory, our turf.
Like, we made Coeur d'Alene what it is.
Yeah, we invented the city, and she's just taking the credit and like posing on Vogue, and like people can see that all over the world.
Right.
So we actually, and I don't know how this like kind of came about, but we each individually sent her a message. Like,
I don't know
if we were condemning her for this tattoo. We're like, hey, like, we just need a little explanation, Hailey. Right. No biggie if you're gonna have that tattoo, but we need to know what year did you ever even step foot in our city.
Totally.
Or something like that. And she didn't respond to any of us, but we all messaged her.
She saw it. Yeah.
I think she read it and didn't respond.
Yeah.
But you know what? Jacob actually met her.
That's right.
He served her coffee when he worked at a coffee shop. And I said two things when he told me that. I said, was she prettier than me? To which he replied, of course not. And I said, was she taller and skinnier than me? And he said, no, baby.
Those are the only correct answers. Yeah. Might I add.
Yeah, but I guess she was really nice.
I don't really stand by the guys who are like, well, yeah, she's like, what am I gonna, you want me to lie? Like, yeah, she's prettier. Like, I'm gonna be honest. You don't have to be honest. The answer
should be a lie if it needs to be.
It's strictly the, like, does this make me look fat thing? There's a time and a place for lying, and it's to your wife or significant other. Right. When she asks you a hypothetical question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, and I feel like we were talking about this podcast almost as like a healing vessel for the both of us. This is going somewhere. Okay. So there was this fleece that I keep getting Insta ads for like 2 years, and I've wanted it. They keep like remaking it in different colors, but it's very expensive. Yeah. But you know, I love a fleece.
I do. I know that about you.
And the other day I was like, Jacob, can I buy this? Because we share a bank account. We like to, you know, smash gender norms. We get each other's permission. We make sure we're on the same page.
Totally.
It's really fun to do that, by the way. Yeah. And he said, if you stop fat shaming yourself for a week, you can get that. Wow. And I was like, what does this say about me? Wow. And I did. I love that. And it came in the mail today. And the first
what
thing.
What a good husband. Yeah. What a good husband.
I want you to uplift yourself.
I kind of think that me and Jacob and I had teamed up against you one time about this. Like,
many people have. I have real issues.
While living at the apartment. Yeah. There was a point where I think it was me and Jacob. I think we both were like,
probably an intervention.
Have to stop. I think we did give you like a 1 week parameter of like, yeah, you can't say you're fat or that you hate yourself or that like
just like really self-deprecate,
yeah, something
to the deepest point. It's definitely a sickness. I have self-diagnosed with body dysmorphia, but we're moving forward, and onward, because all bodies are beautiful.
Yeah. Remember when I said the steps to having a bikini body?
Step 1,
have a body.
Step 2,
have a bikini.
And that's it. And you've always said that.
And I've always said that, and I've always stood by that as someone who also has the exact same crippling thoughts as you. I maybe don't voice them as much, but I think that we're definitely on the same page about that.
For
and I
sure.
think 95% of women are.
Yeah.
And I love that for us.
Yeah. It's really fun to be a girl in this world.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? We are always bettering ourselves, and I've been working on this with my therapist, and it's totally, just a girly thing, unfortunately. But I've always wondered, like, what would it be like to just be a male and never have these thoughts? I mean, not that men don't, but for the most part, it's not at all.
It's not the same.
No.
Right.
They will never understand.
Yeah.
So we're working on that.
Mm-hmm.
We're in therapy. We're moving forward. But also the problem with me is that no matter what my thoughts are, like, I am vocalizing them at all times. So
yeah, and I love that. I love getting a glimpse into your brain at all times.
But
like,
that means
there's
good,
no
the
mystery
bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, I think sometimes you want to be mysterious.
Oh, I've always wanted to be mysterious.
Yeah, but
when I was in grade school, I would decide, like, that morning, I'm like, I'm gonna be so quiet today. Like, nobody's gonna know what I'm thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
It never lasted for more than 45 minutes.
Right. I love that.
I remember even as a kid, I would get sent home, like, on my report card, I would have straight A's always, but they would write notes like, Timarie disrupts the class too much. And to that, now I say, sorry that I was being a strong female lead.
Yeah.
And I think that it was sexist what they said
Sorry
about
that I'm
me.
comfortable sharing my opinions.
Yeah, sorry that I'm a woman
who speaks her
shaking
mind.
the industry,
Mm-hmm.
speaking her mind.
You've been shaking the industry since, what, first grade?
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've been trying to stop you since, and
I won't let them.
And you won't let them.
Yeah.
And this is where we really shake the industry publicly. With day one of Anchoevies, the podcast.
Yeah, no, like, people aren't ready for this. And also I want to say is, so as we all know, Bobby from TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
she's been interviewing all these famous rappers.
Yeah.
I found out how she came to that. If you want to know.
Yeah, I've been
She made a video about it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if it was real, but, like, you can't tell with her, but she was like, it was some, like, dance video or something, and she basically said, like, when you're neighbors with Tyga or something like that, and he agrees to be on your podcast. So that's kind of how it started, or whoever it was. I can't remember exactly. Somebody that she's neighbors with. Well, we kind of have that star access because you know who I work in the same building as?
Who?
Guess.
Oh.
Think.
Yeah. What's his name?
We dated for a short time.
David. 3, 2, 1.
Henrie. David Henrie.
That's right.
I literally saw him at work the other day.
Yeah.
And I thought about asking him to be on our podcast. Actually, I'm fully workshopping that somehow I'm going to get him on the podcast.
I'm obsessed with that.
And
I think all of our listeners would know who David Henrie is, but if you don't,
what?
Theo might not know. I want you to tell them about it.
Right. So David Henrie played the oldest brother on Wizards of Waverly Place.
Mm-hmm.
His name in the show was Justin Russo, or was it Alex? No, Alex was Selena. Alex Russo, played by Selena Gomez.
Yeah, I think it was
Justin
Russo.
And then there was another, was it Jake Russo? No, Jake T. Austin plays. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't. He was the
oldest brother on the show. That's all you need to know. And now he lives in our town. He shops at the same grocery store as me. I've seen him in the parking lot.
Which grocery store? Safeway?
Pilgrims.
Oh.
Of course.
I was going to say, is he at the ghetto Safeway on 4th?
No. He would never. I shop there.
Right. And as you should.
As I should. It's convenient. But I go to Pilgrims sometimes when my bank account is looking okay, and I can go buy a $4 sparkling water of some sorts. Pilgrims is like
Organic.
our version of Whole Foods, Erewhon, but like make it Idaho.
Totally.
Anyways, I want him on the podcast.
Yeah, I do too.
Given our dating history, I don't know if he would agree to it.
Right.
If he knew also that I was telling everyone in the town that we dated before. I'll leave that up to you to decide if that's accurate or not.
You know who else I was about to have on the podcast?
Who
gives off the same energy as David Henrie?
Oh my gosh.
Mitchel Musso. But Mitchel Musso was just arrested.
For what?
I think it was it public intoxication and theft and something else?
That just sounds like my kind of Saturday night.
Totally. Like, why is he getting arrested for that? For like having a good... It sounds like Mitchel Musso arrested for having a good time.
That's what the headline should say.
Yeah. And awesome. Yeah, so I just want to say my thoughts and prayers are with Mitchel Musso and all he's done for us. I just think in this time, like, we should be there for him too.
I think he's only ever lifted us up and supported us. And yeah, we should text him and ask him. And he's
being like punished for now like having a good time, which I just think is messed up.
I love keeping up with celebrity goss though.
Yeah, I think we're really good at like where we get our source, where we get our information from, our sources. Right. I feel super informed. Totally.
Me
too. It comes
too.
back to that every time.
I'm sorry. I'm just like kind of reeling now with like the connections that I have.
Yeah. Keep going.
Have you heard of that rule where you're always 7 people from Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just saying that because Jacob, as we all know, was on The Voice and he met multiple celebrities through that. Since then, he's played gigs where many celebrities that you would know were watching his gigs.
Wow.
Not allowed to give away that much information about it because
we have so many NDAs. It's like I had to buy a filing cabinet for all my NDAs because of all the celebrities I meet.
But I will say, if you're a fan of Gossip Girl, and have you never seen Gossip Girl?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, you have to watch it.
I like can't talk to girls because they ask me about Gossip Girl, and I feel like I'm just.
You need to watch it, and Drew would love it.
Really?
Because Jacob loved it. Like, it's one of those shows where a guy would be like, "Oh, this is lame. I don't want to watch it," and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh my gosh!"
They're like standing around the corner, like eating popcorn, and you're like, "You can come sit."
Yeah,
it's one of those.
There's room for everyone here.
Yeah.
So you need to watch Gossip Girl.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
You need to watch Gossip Girl, and there's a character named Nate Archibald who is a certified cutie, if I do say so myself. Jacob may or may not have just met him a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
And I was so pissed when he texted me that. And then you know who else he met?
Who?
Miles Teller.
Wow.
Which made me very angry.
Yeah. That's infuriating.
Not that they like.
And that
talked.
might be closer to Kevin Bacon. That might not even take him 7 to get there.
Not even.
You know?
Yeah. No, and it makes me very jealous because Jacob is way too tame. Like, he meets these celebs, you know, barely. Like, it's not like they're chatting and hanging out. He's just like in close proximity to them,
right? Providing
his services, music.
Nothing else.
Nothing else. No other services. Just music.
Weird, right?
And he's so chill. And this is probably why God didn't give me this talent of music or anything really worthwhile that would get me close to a celebrity. Okay. I would have no. Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you. I think that's it.
I would have no chill if I met these people. Like, they would fully be telling me to go away.
Yeah.
Or if I can I'm still figuring out some way to get David Henrie here. Like, I think the first couple ways to do this would be slight bump in the shoulder when I see him at my work.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there. You knocked out my AirPod. Oh, what were you listening to, Timarie? Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I'm actually listening to a podcast. Have you heard of those? And he says, "What? I too have a podcast." I think he's like a business mogul now.
Oh, okay.
And I go, "Oh my gosh, wait, what's your name again?" You have to play it cool with these kind of A-listers.
Yeah.
What's your name? Have we met before? Oh, sorry. Pulls his hand out. David.
I thought you guys dated.
Oh, well, yeah. It was a long time ago. I looked very different. I don't know if you would recognize me. I got
Snaggletooth.
What?
I don't know. Keep going.
Yeah, it was before that. So I go, "Oh my gosh, I'm Timarie's." Wow, that's such a beautiful name.
Did you put an S on the end of your name?
No.
It's not like you said, "I'm Timarie's."
I'm Timarie's. He goes, "What?" I'm like, "But you can call me Tim. Like, I feel like we have this matched energy." Oh my gosh, you know what would be crazy? If we sat down and had a conversation about current events. And actually, you know, there's a really good place for us to do that at my friend Tessa's house, where we record a new and noteworthy podcast. And of course he says yes, because it would be rude to say no.
Right. And in the meantime, you're recording that whole conversation. So either way, he's on the pod.
Yeah, I am recording him.
You have a pocket tee and
with my flashes on.
Yeah. And you're recording it.
Fully videotaping it. No, I'm manifesting that happens before the end of the year.
I love that.
Do you have any manifestations that you're currently working on?
No.
Okay.
I can't say that I do. I can't say that I've ever been a dreamer.
Really?
Yeah.
That's probably why we're such good friends, because I just tell you what I'm trying to do and you're always just up for it.
I'm always like, cool.
Okay.
And then you're like, what are your wildest hopes and dreams and goals? And I'm like, do I have to have those?
I'm so jealous of you for that.
No, I feel like I should have some. But
no, it's
okay.
It's fully better living that way because there's no disappointment in the end.
Well, yeah.
Or maybe less.
Maybe less. I'm not setting I think you dream really, really big. And I love that for you.
Not if
I think sometimes,
you make it that big.
I think sometimes if it doesn't happen, you're like, wow, I just started. This hasn't actually happened, but like, you're like, I'm going to start going to the gym. I want to
lose
bench
65 pounds.
Oh, yeah. Or you're like, I want to bench 580 pounds in 2 weeks. I'm going to train up to that.
Yeah.
You like don't give yourself a lot of time and you set like a really high goal. And if you don't get that, you're like, I'm never going again. But one thing.
But sometimes it works out.
Sometimes it works out. You were like, I want to train for a marathon. I'm not a runner. And I want to run a marathon.
And everyone was like, everyone was naysaying.
I was like, go girl, but also I don't want, like, maybe start with a half marathon.
Everyone
or
said,
start
be
with
careful.
Start with a 5K or something as not a runner. And she did it. She ran a marathon.
I said, heck no, I'm going to do this. Fully, I think the only motivating factor for running that 26.2 brutal track was that so many people I know when I told them I was going to do it were like they were all supportive, but I knew deep down they were like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
And you got to prove them wrong.
And I needed to prove them.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm about to pee my pants.
Okay.
I'd like you free to hold this mic.
Yeah.
And
you can
just
pee.
Entertain the people.
And I'll take over.
Or Theo can talk to
and have my own solo session.
I'm not going that far away, though.
Yeah, Tessa will be back momentarily. I'm really just workshopping out how I'm going to get my friend David to join us on this couch. Because I do think he would make an incredible asset. And I do think he would also make an incredible friend. Only time is going to determine that. And then once we have one A-lister, such as David Henrie, who's to say where that is going to end? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Without Tessa here, it's really hard to maintain things to tell you guys about. I also do feel like we're almost to the end of the road. And it's been a really good time. I'm surprised Tessa actually was willing to do this with me to begin with. But like I said, she's usually up for my ideas, which is why she's my ultimate best friend. Now is also a good time if you've made it this far into the pod, which of course you have, because it's groundbreaking and probably the best thing that you've listened to this year. We are going to be opening up an advice column, and it's called TNT Advice Column, where you get your most dynamite advice. So if you have been struggling with something personal, work related, really anything, I would hope you keep it rated PG-13, but please feel free to DM us on Instagram at Anchoevies Pod, which that's not spelled the traditional way. Anchoevies, ANCHOEVIES POD.
Pod.
The reason we did that is it's, as you can see, a play on words.
Yeah, try to find the hidden word in there.
Yeah. Hint.
It's ho.
It's ho. Because we just thought that was a fun play on words. And it's too late to turn back now because I did get it embroidered on an LL Bean boat and tote bag.
You did?
Yeah. And Jacob said, I ordered this before we started this, and he was like, isn't that a little premature? I said, isn't that exactly what you would expect me to do? And this bag is huge. But then I thought about it.
How much is it? Like, that sounds kind of expensive too. LLB.
It was $58.
Okay, yeah.
I thought that wasn't bad.
That's not bad. That's more than I've ever spent on a tote. But like,
really?
Have you spent more than that on a tote bag? It's okay. It's okay if you have.
No, actually I haven't. But I did want to get a Baggu tote bag. It was a Baggu X Sandy Liang collaboration. Sold out in 30 seconds.
Wow.
The boat and tote that I got from LL Bean looks just like that, except for instead of saying whatever collaboration, it says anchovies, which is 10
That's even better. Yeah.
And it was $2 cheaper. That one would have been $60.
And not to like dog on our sponsors at all.
No, because we
could not have done this without them.
Wouldn't have been able to do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, please feel free to DM us any advice you need. We also want to open up for sponsors. We are happily taking new sponsors at this time.
Yeah.
We've
selectively.
We've been sifting through
hundreds and hundreds of applications.
Yeah, not to name any names, but QuickBooks. Windex did reach out, maybe. Again, we want to keep things pretty like...
Skate Plaza reached out.
Skate Plaza, Vagisil, they reached out. Mm-hmm. We're still deciding who to go with.
Kit Kat is a sponsor that we're considering.
Yeah. Left Twix.
Mm-hmm.
Not right.
Right.
The list is really going on. But additionally, we had this idea. Well, actually, I don't know if I ran it by Tessa, but I'm just going to send it.
Love that.
If any of you listeners have a personal plug you would like us to throw into the podcast, we are charging $10, and that keeps our podcast alive. It keeps the equipment fresh. Actually don't know what we're going to be doing with the money yet, but
probably buying
$10
more embroidered tote bags.
Yes, $10 gets you a 30-second slot of us plugging whatever you want.
Thanks, Theo.
Yeah, Theo's
small business who
women-owned small business.
Yeah. Making history on the pod. On the potty. So my husband would prefer that we don't use the term potty.
But that's kind of anti-feminist if you ask me.
Yeah.
Him telling a woman not to say something.
Totally. And honestly, he set all of this up for us. So like we owe him the world, but who is he to say we can't say potty?
Exactly. And if you do end up sending us that $10, we'll probably give the first $10 bill that we get to Drew because he did set everything up.
But don't let that stop you.
Yeah. And then after that, it's like, who's to say what could happen? So if you have something you want us to plug, personal project, maybe you had a terrible breakup, you want us to just rip into your ex. Like
totally.
The categories can range, and we're not opposed to anything unless it involves slandering a certain people group or tearing down somebody, unless it's your ex and he deserves it.
Right.
Then we'll do that.
Unless it violates HIPAA.
Yeah.
It has to be HIPAA compliant.
It cannot violate HIPAA, and we'll do it. So please DM us if that's something. We'll provide the Venmo and we'll go from there. Mm-hmm. With that, I think we covered all of our topics of pulp culture that we wanted to go over today.
I think Theo's having a dream about Anchoevies pod.
He definitely is. He's tweaking on the couch. For those of you listening and not watching, Theo is Tessa's dog, by the way. He's been napping like a king.
Yeah.
Through this whole recording. So if you hear lip smacking that we've
It could be us and it could be Theo. It's hard to say if you're not watching.
That's up for you to decide.
Yeah.
And we look forward to bringing you more of this content every single week to where you listen to your podcasts. Mm-hmm. Spotify.
Do you have any advice before we part for our listeners?
Right now, no.
Okay.
I feel like I've covered my ground.
I love that.
And we hope you guys tune in every Tuesday. Please follow our Instagram. That's at AnchoviesPod. Don't forget the hoe. So there is an additional E in the word anchovies. Mm-hmm. Merch will be coming soon. Mm-hmm. So long as we get our sponsors.
Yeah, it's going to launch hard.
Yeah. Tessa, do you have anything to add before we kiss goodbye?
I don't think so. I'd like to just say like, follow, subscribe, comment, send money. Even if you don't want us to plug something and you feel like you want to send $50, that's totally fine. If you just want to listen and be a fly on the wall, we'd encourage that behavior as well.
Yep. Exactly. Thanks so much for listening, you guys. We couldn't do this without you.
We love you, and we hope you have an amazing week
filled with lots of anchovies.
Bye.